Welcome back, my friends. It's awesome to see you again in Tech Conversation Secrets. My name is Carlos Vargas. And if this is the first time, thank you for tuning in. We cover different topics in technology, leadership. And after a whole week of doing a lot of work and a lot of different things, um, I've been talking to a lot of people and I was reflecting about not only technology, our work is technology, but we are people. And one of the things that we were talking about was how people react. And in today's climate, it's interesting because there may be a lot of the word fear. And I started thinking about my years in technology, the time that I actually grew up from doing cabling, installing computers, all the way up to managing teams. And there were five things that always kept coming up. So I said, hey, let me take the time to meditate, to review, and probably someone from our audience may be going through something like this. So when I work and coach people, sometimes some of this come up. I say, hey, what about if we go over them? So today we're going to be talking about five common fears that probably all of us experience. I know that I have experienced them. So as we go through this, make sure that you subscribe, you give us a thumbs up, you share your feedback because the idea is that we continue to grow. So I started technology probably like around 25 years ago. So that will give you a long time. I have my first computer was a K-Pro 8086, if I remember correctly. We're talking about one of those big monstrosities. And an interesting detail was that when I started working with it, I did not have any fear whatsoever because I have never worked on a computer. So I didn't know if I was doing something right or wrong. I was just learning. I was being curious. I was trying. I was looking to see what to do. And as I was learning and growing in different things, I started then developing some things and learning. And then when I became a professional, all that experience helped me. But I remember that through all those years, there were moments that I was afraid of what gonna happen to the computer in Puerto Rico. Power outages are a pain. So I took some actions to protect the computer from the power outages because I was then afraid of what could happen to the computer. So I was meditating that sometimes we go through things and we don't take the correct protection. So we don't go through those challenges. We may be going through financial, I don't want to call it insecurities or challenges right now, but yeah, we are in a probably in a tough spot. But in those moments is where creativity come up, where different new products appear. So you may be going through some setbacks. I know that at one point in my life, I went through a lot of challenges and setbacks. And everybody normally say, hey, it was not my fault. But those setbacks actually start creating some fears in me that will not allow me to probably move forward or leap into the next step in my career. And I remember that one Friday, there was one of the vice presidents for a company that I worked for at that time. And he came and he was saying, hey, Carlos, I need you to give up your power. And right away, based on what I was thinking, okay, it's Friday afternoon, I'm getting fired. And we had a good relationship. So I asked, okay, let's go straight. Are you firing me? Is something happening? He said, no, no, no. I don't want you to be afraid. But he said, in order for you to go up, you need to give up. And that was very interesting because in that moment, I was learning a lot, I was doing a lot, but I was keeping it to myself. And I'm like, if somebody else wants to learn, they can learn on their own. And I said, that's an interesting concept. And when I learned to eliminate the fear, then I was able to see that there were some doors that start opening. And say, Carlos, could you eliminate fear completely? And the way that I'm gonna define fear gonna be very interesting because I realize that fear have a couple of letters. So false evidence appearing real. And the reason that I use that is that I realize that if I was afraid of what could happen, not what already happened, but the possibility, that will stop me from doing some things. So, reviewing and thinking about that, there are five fears, stages, different areas that I've seen that a lot of us go through. And when I talk to people, when I coach, when I lead, the first one is the fear of the unknown. And that was one of my first problems. I didn't know what will happen if I give up my power. If I will give more to the team. So my team was doing a lot of great things to the degree that people were trying to follow our model. Because at that time, when we were getting requests for new equipment or solutions in our data center, it took under a week from the first meeting into when they were in production. And that was never heard of within the company that I was working for and in a lot of other places. And the big company had a big outsourcer and they were doing a lot of stuff. But our team was working very closely. And that's what we were able to do a lot. But that unknown was based on, I was constantly learning something new. Like even until today, I'm constantly researching, reading, doing something new. But it was interesting because when you are scared, then you don't have the courage to probably do more things. And it's interesting because when I start not being afraid or not allowing that to be what hold me back, we start actually doing a lot more because then my team felt that I trusted them more. I was able to then let them do other things. And in my sense, I was able to do other things. And it's interesting because we even won an award because our data center was really small, or not really small. It was a good size, but we couldn't expand the data center. But we needed to put more. And at that time, I'm going to date myself. It wasn't the times where VMware was starting to come up. And we actually had to prove that that was a good solution. And we saved millions of dollars by thinking outside the box and eliminating or not allowing the fear of the unknown. Was a brand new technology, was something that we needed to test and try, and we saw that it had great value. So looking at it also from a personal side, from a professional side, sometimes we are afraid of what could happen. I don't have probably the correct skill set. I don't know what to do. I don't know what they're gonna ask me to do. I don't know if that new position may be a good fit for me. I don't know if that new company may be a good one. You know, you will never know until you try. And that remind me the little guy the owl from Tootsie Roll, that he was the one that you'll never know until you dig in into a Tootsie Roll. So the next time that you see something that is making you a little bit afraid, just ask yourself, why are you feeling like this? Are you feeling like that because you truly can't do it? Because in reality, we all, at some point in our career, had had to do something that we were not completely prepared. But that is the beauty of life. That you don't need to be an expert in everything. You can actually try, work through it, learn, adjust, try again. And that's how you master something. You don't master something just by saying, I'm a master. No, you have to keep trying. So if you feel like that, make sure that you look and create a simple plan. Do you need to learn something? Hey, I don't know that technology. I don't know that company. I don't know how to connect with the customer. Identify it. And then today we have so many resources. You may have people in your team that may be an expert or more advanced than you in that area. You may have family members. You may have a YouTube video, a LinkedIn course, something that allow you to then learn from it. And then when you write it down, create a plan. You don't have to master it from A to Z. All that you need is that you start the process. You start learning so that unknown now become known. And you don't have to be afraid from it. Okay. Um, Number two is fear of failure. And the fear of failure is an interesting one because it means that at some point we actually try something. And after we tried it, for whatever reason, you did not get what you expected. That could be you didn't get the results, you uh, maybe actually fall flat. If you're the business owner, probably your business didn't generate the income that you expected, or something like that. On the technology side, I remember that at one point in my career, um, the only position available for a big environment was coming in as a help desk professional. But the hiring manager or the manager for the whole team said, hey, this is the only open rec that I have right now. But as soon as you come in, then I can move you so you can be working directly in the environment. And it was interesting because at that time, like I said, it was a lower position, but I got in, and right away, there were a lot of opportunities. And then the thought that in the past, I may have failed, it actually started trying to hold me back. Don't try a lot of things, don't do a lot of things, just do the minimum. And it was interesting because the conversations that I had with that manager, uh, that was one of the best managers that I had in my career. He was very direct, and he told me one thing: that I don't care how much you fail, as long as you do it. And it was interesting because I'm like, oh wait, how is this thing? And he's like, if you fail, you're trying. When you're trying, you learn when you did, you fix it, go back. And that actually gave me freedom to actually not allow those things that could stop me from holding me back. So sometimes I'm not talking about being um, not caring about others or not being professional. I'm talking about that we all are going to fail because it's the only way that we can grow. Um, there's a quote from Lao Tzu that's care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner. And that's interesting because a lot of times we are holding ourselves back because we think that what others will think about us. Hey, this person um, is failing. Oh, this person is not doing a good job. Well, actually, it's not about not doing a good job. When you're failing, it means that you're trying something. And that was a big eye opener for me when I realized that if I try, there are going to be moments that I'm going to fail. Like in cloud, when you have never worked in a cloud environment before and you try to do anything, let's say start with deploying a VM, heck, very simple, or deploying a web app or deploying a container. And I'm very a little technical for our technical audience. At the beginning, if you were used to do it on premise, you're gonna go, okay, why this thing doesn't work? And it's not that it doesn't work. If you did not configure the parameters correctly, now it doesn't work what it looked for you. But what do? You learn from that mistake, from that failure, and now you go and you do it again. And now you learn how to do it. So in life, in our careers, that is part of it. And when we're looking at that and we learn from it, it allows to eliminate that false evidence that appears real. Because what happens is that then we start believing that that's us. We start believing that we are the failure. And the failure is just a moment in time. We are not the failure. It's something that happened. Number three that I realized that it hurt me and with the people that I work with across the years is that sometimes we have a fear that we are not good enough. And it's interesting because I met people that are very resilient, that they're very creative, that they've been on the industry for a long time. But sometimes they actually look at whatever is happening and they say, oh, there's other people that are better than me. My friend, I want to give you a secret. Remember, we're in tech conversation secrets. There's a ton of people that are going to be smarter, probably have more experience, that at some point may even make more than we make. But that doesn't mean that we're not good enough. Each one of us have a set of skills that when we use them correctly, we are the right tool or the right person or the right job. So when I realized that, there was a moment that my experience was very technical. And when I started leading teams, then it became like, okay, wait, but I don't have the university degree in what I consider management. And I have my expertise and my studies in the technical side. So what's a different skill? So at one point in time, I was thinking, hey, I may not be good enough for that role. And it was not until I read a book that shared a secret that I want to share with you. In order for us to lead, the first person that we need to lead is not someone else. It's not to have a small team. The first person that we need to lead is ourselves. And when we lead ourselves, is when then other people start following us, is other people start coming to us. And that helped me realize that, hey, it's not about me being good enough. I am good and I will get better by keep trying, by keep volunteering. Is one of the details that, as professionals, I remember um, it helped me to actually volunteer for new things, even when I didn't have the expertise to be on a group, to take notes, to being on a group and learning from it, to being on a meeting and ask for feedback, to connect with higher up leaders, to be mentored. To say, okay, I want to learn. I know that I may not have the expertise, I may not have everything, but remember that Albert Einstein says everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish for its ability to climb a tree, he will always believe that he's stupid. So don't judge yourself by probably what someone else does. And in today's culture, sometimes we see other people posting things in social media or talking about, and we may think, hey, I am not that way. But if you realize that you have great skills and you can keep learning, you just need to get a little bit uncomfortable and getting out of your comfort zone. That will help you so you can move on. Fear number four that I realized, and with the people that I work with, was that you may be or too young or too old to actually do something great. And this one comes from we're experiencing across the years. Always there's a generation that had been probably in some positions, and then a new one come in. So the younger ones think, oh, I cannot accomplish right some of the things because they have so much experience than me. The other way is that then the older generation may think this newer generation may be getting a higher salary, or they may have other opportunities that I didn't have at that time. So that affects me today. And I remember that at one point in my career, I was living in one state, and the company, I was in vacation, and they sent a message. Hey, will you consider moving to a completely new state so you can lead the team for all the engineers for the company? And again, I was in vacation, so I was in a different country. I was not in work mode. And the first thought that came was, you're too young, you don't have the experience. If you move, something gonna happen. And right away when that fear came in, I took the fear. I said, no, that's false evidence appearing real. Because in the middle of that, yes, I may not have the whole experience of what is over there, but the company is actually looking at what I am doing with my team locally in another state. And they want that. So looking at that, I say yes. And it started a new chapter. And if I had allowed that fear that, hey, you're too young, you don't have what it takes, I will have not accomplished and enjoy so many other things that have happened in my life after that. So to give an example, we all love probably the Avenger movies. And if you have read the story, Stan Lee created his first comic at 39 years old. So he was not a young guy when he started. But Henry Ford actually was 45 when he created the Model T. And you probably have ate at a McDonald's. Ray Kroc started the franchises at 52, but KFC started franchising at 62, Colonel Sanders. So why do I say this? Because you may have wanted to do something probably 20 years ago, like they say, like that thought says, that quote, that the best time to plant a tree is like 20 years ago. But when is the next or the second best time? It's like start now. Do not allow anything or anyone to stop you from moving forward. Last but not least, it's something that is a little bit of a playing word, and it's your BS. I know that if you're looking at this, you may say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you saying? Yeah, you're BS." You believe system. There may be something in you that may say, "Hey, you don't have what it takes," and that comes from probably the way that we were raised, school we went to, culture, the programs, and a lot of times that belief system, it kept me because my family had accomplished some things and I surpassed what they had accomplished. And I'm like, well, if I have gone over what they did, then I could not do anymore. And you say, wait, what is that? Because mentally I was like, I'm set. I have accomplished the top of what my family did. And sometimes that fear of just not doing more because what I was taught, hey, it costs too much to go out. Hey, turn off the light because I am not rich, or so many other things that we said affect us because then we are the ones that then limit our future potential. Our belief system is in here, and we need to change the ship, change the chip. And when we do that, we can renew our mind. There's a book that I love that says you have to renew your mind so you can then accomplish what you have to do. So, my friends, there you have it. 5 fears that stop us from moving forward. So, the first one, the fear of the unknown. Number two is the fear of failure. Number three is the fear that you're not good enough. Number four is that you may be too old. But the last one, the BS that happen every day, and that's our belief system. We getting bombarded from everywhere, and we may be, hey, I am not good enough. I don't do it. What I learned, what I haven't learned, what it could be. My friends, take the time to write down what is keeping you in fear right now. Because if you actually take the time, you will realize that your fears have false evidence appearing real. My friends, has been awesome to see you again, and I hope to see you next week. So, thank you for tuning in here to another Tech Conversation Secrets. See you, my friends.